Stro loved riding his bike until he was killed at the age of 17. His younger brother, Mouse, just turned 14 and dreams of being as cool as Stro. For now, he could only afford a quad bike instead of a motorcycle. The streets are swarming with cops. One of them stopped the boy and nearly took him to the station, but Mouse was saved by Detective Rivers. Rivers is the boy's mentor and makes sure the school kid stays out of trouble. Rivers dropped Mouse off in his neighborhood. At home, his angry mother was waiting for him. Mouse has to work after school and look after his younger sister. His friends told him there's a new girl on their street and she's gorgeous. They had to check her out immediately. As for his sister, he'd have to blow her off. In exchange for staying quiet and not telling their mom, the little rascal tricked him into giving her some money. The boys rolled up to Nikki's house. All three started hitting on her. The biggest kid called himself an organ donor and offered to give the girl his heart. Nikki snapped a photo of the gang and got an invite to a biker show hosted by the local gang, the Midnight Clique. Nikki's grandmother saw the boys and chased them off her lawn. Swervegot bragged that he bought a condom to have fun with Mouse's mom. That same day, Mouse helped deliver kittens. He works part-time at a vet clinic and loves caring for animals. Mouse's mom knew there was going to be a biker meetup that evening, so she strictly forbade him from leaving the house. She ordered Shay to keep an eye on her brother, and if he left, to tell her immediately. That gave Shay an opportunity to earn a little more cash, and Mouse was already planning to sneak out to the biker meetup. He hid his quad bike in the backyard so his mom would not see it. Experienced bikers raced through the streets, popping wheelies. Mouse's friends mocked him and his little quad. Determined to prove himself, Mouse tried to show them he could do tricks too. Unsurprisingly, it didn't go well. Mouse fell to the pavement almost immediately, and to make things worse, Nikki took a picture of his embarrassing fall. Still, that didn't stop Mouse from flirting with the new girl. Then the Midnight Clique showed up, the city's top biker gang. Among them was Blacks, a racing legend who had just gotten out of prison. The street party ended when the cops showed up, but not for the clique. They pulled on balaclavas. The boldest of them, Jamal, smashed a police car window with a brick. A chase followed. The bikers cut through backyards and switched directions often. A crash seemed inevitable. Eventually, the cops had to give up chasing these daredevils. Mouse also dreamed of joining the gang, but they told him 7th graders weren't allowed in. Still, Mouse convinced his friends to tag along and meet the Midnight Clique. Quinn laughed at the boys. They needed real bikes first. Jamal was more chill and offered to let Mouse prove himself, but the boy couldn't even start his quad bike. Everyone left. Only Mouse remained, stuck with his junky ride. Then Blacks approached him. He works at an auto shop and decided to help Mouse fix the quad. The man used to hang out with Stro, Mouse's older brother. He showed Mouse his collection of bikes. Under a tarp, he kept a pile of scrap metal. It used to be a badass motorcycle. If Mouse could restore it, it would be his. After all, he did not have the $8,000 needed for a new one. The boy made a deal to bring his friends to the garage. All three of them started scrubbing parts, and Mouse noticed that Blacks' dog was walking strangely. Before long, the others got bored, and only Mouse stayed behind to work in the garage. Mouse had not forgotten about his new crush. He gave Nikki a kitten in exchange for her phone number. But it turned out that her strict grandmother had taken her phone away. She dragged her granddaughter back into the house. Before leaving, Nikki kissed Mouse on the cheek. Jamal was up to something shady. He asked Blacks to pick up a package, but the man, trying to live a clean life, refused. Mouse kept lying to his mom, telling her he was staying late at the veterinary clinic. From there, he brought Blacks some medicine to help treat his dog's legs. The man gave him some advice: choose your friends wisely. His dead brother was never good at that. Mouse confronted his friends for ditching him alone in the garage. But you could understand them. They wanted to hang out during summer break, not sweat in a hot workshop. And it is much easier to make money for a bike by working for drug dealers. Rivers found Mouse and told him to get in the car. The kid could not skip work. Sure, the pay was low, but it was valuable experience, and with it, Mouse could land a job after finishing school. Blacks had finished customizing a badass bike, and it needed to be delivered to a client. Blacks trusted Mouse enough now to ask him to handle the delivery, but he warned no tricks. Naturally, Mouse wanted to show off to his friends and told them they made a mistake by leaving Blacks. Then he rode over to Nikki's house and offered her a ride. The boy thought the girl was ready to be his girlfriend. That is when Derek showed up and asked for a ride on the bike, just to the corner and back. Mouse hesitated but agreed, thinking the guy was a friend of his brother. But Derek said he needed more space and would ride to the end of the block. A minute passed, and Mouse realized he had seriously screwed up. His friends scolded him for handing over the bike so easily. Swervegot recognized Derek. He strips bikes for parts. Mouse was in real trouble now. The boys headed to Derek's garage to beat him up and get the bike back. But the motorcycle was already gone. The thief told them to get lost. Lamont started mouthing off and Derek pulled a gun on him. It is easy to intimidate school kids. But just then, the midnight clique rolled into the garage. Blacks gave the thief a scare, though Jamal and the others thought he deserved a much harsher punishment. Suddenly, Lamont grabbed a brick and smashed it into Derek's head, then started kicking him with full force. It looked like the boy was going to beat him to death, but Jamal stepped in and stopped him. Blacks scolded the boy. From now on, he would only be trusted with a mop and would not be allowed near the bikes. Meanwhile, the fat kid was trying to hook up with two girls at once. Jamal liked Lamont's bold attitude and offered him a chance to earn some money. Mouse overheard his mother crying in the kitchen. She had just found out that her son had not been going to the vet clinic for a whole month. Why did he quit? He loved animals so much. There were unpaid bills on the table. She was short on money. Blacks let the boy return to working on the bike. He had learned his lesson. But now Mouse did not want a bike. He needed cash. So he decided to work with the midnight clique even though Blacks had forbidden it. If only that cop would leave him alone. Why was he so obsessed with Mouse? The boy told him he did not need him and wanted to make his own choices. Swervegot was also brought into the gang just to make up the numbers. The kids would receive instructions from Jamal through a dating app where the cops would not be watching. They would have only 20 minutes to reach the designated location. The package they received would go into a bag and be delivered to another address. There, they would be given a second bag, which they had to take directly to Jamal. Only then would they get paid. Each courier was also given a bike. So in a way, the kid's dream had come true. Mouse stopped answering Nicky's calls. He did not want any distractions from his new criminal path. Besides, he was now hanging out with other girls, so he no longer felt the need to keep Nicky around. At home, his mom found Mouse's stash. Where had he gotten so much money? She had already lost one son to a street gang, and she could not go through that again. So she threw Mouse out of the house. In the middle of the night, Rivers showed up at Blacks' garage to talk about Mouse. He is a good kid who got mixed up with the wrong crowd. His brother was the same, and he got killed during a police raid. That night, Stro was found with nearly a kilo of narcotics. But Blacks seems to believe it is better to be a drug dealer than a cop. The homeless Mouse was taken in by Swervegot. Mouse said he no longer wanted to ride borrowed bikes. They had to earn enough money to buy their own. Lamont suggested robbing the candy store they always used to go to, but they needed a gun. So the schoolboys asked the older guys for one, and Jamal agreed to let them borrow a single pistol for the job. Blacks asked Jamal to leave Mouse alone, but Jamal did not take orders from him. After all, it was Blacks who turned him into a criminal in the first place. Blacks decided to talk some sense into the kid himself, but Mouse changed the subject to the dog. Something was wrong with it. He brought the animal to the vet clinic. The dog needed surgery, but it was so old that it probably would not survive. Putting it down would be the most humane option, and Blacks wanted Mouse to be the one to do it. Later, Blacks admitted it was he who had sent Stro on that final job. He was the one responsible for Mouse's brother's death. That is why he took Mouse under his wing. Unfortunately, this did not scare the boy off the criminal path. It only pushed him deeper into it. Mouse still hoped they would not have to shoot anyone during the robbery. But when he said that out loud, the hot-headed Lamont took the gun from him. The boys pulled on balaclavas and headed to the store. Mr. Kim, the shop owner, saw the robbers and immediately went for the phone. Swervegot and Mouse were ready to bail, but Lamont fired a shot into the ceiling. Mrs. Kim fired back. That was the end of the game. Swervegot was lying in a pool of blood, not moving. The other two boys fled the store and split up to confuse the police. Mouse went to Blacks and told him that his fat friend had just been killed. Blacks told the boy that guys like them do not get many second chances, so Mouse had to promise to change. The police arrived at the garage. While Mouse washed the blood off himself, Blacks raised his hands to surrender. He claimed he had just robbed the store. Rivers knew the truth, but he played along with the former gangster. He put Blacks in handcuffs and took him to jail. Then he drove Mouse home. Rivers promised to handle the legal mess and asked the boy not to waste his last chance to turn things around. The news reported a 13-year-old boy who had been shot during a robbery. Mouse's mother prayed to God that it was not her son. And then Mouse walked through the door, hugged her, and broke down in tears. A year passed. Mouse returned to work at the vet clinic and finally found the courage to apologize to Nicky. Now he stays away from bad influences, which cannot be said about Lamont. The boy is deep into the criminal world but flaunts gold chains around his neck. Jamal sent him a message. Time to handle another job. As for Mouse, he hurried home. His mom and sister were waiting for him. That is where the film ends.